Are you going to change any of the practices that your national security officials used after a reporter was inadvertently added to a group chat about attacks on Yemen?
We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use.
Yes, Trump is downplaying his team's use of the app Signal, if that's what you want to call it, to discuss war plans. And no, he has no damn clue what he's talking about.
Sometimes people are hooked in and you don't know they're hooked in. They're hooked into your line and they don't even mean bad by it. But it's not a perfect technology. There is no perfect technology. The really good ones are very cumbersome, very hard to access. And I think we're going to look at, we always want to use the best technology. This was the best technology for the moment. But again, it wasn't classified, so they probably viewed it as being something that wasn't that important.
So don't forget, the talking point is that the discussion of specific war plans with names of agents and targets involved is not classified information, which means it could be shared with the committee here. So watch Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, try to hold on to that assignment while being grilled over her involvement in this chat group that they don't want anyone to hear more about.
So, Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not, are you denying, Matt, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat?
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security Council.
Because it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
There was no classified material that was shared in that
So then if there was no
check.
classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to, filibuster your answer.
So it was an especially tough sell, considering the fact that they were discussing attack plans that obviously aren't usually broadcast for anyone to see.
The deliberation as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country, would you consider that classified information, Ms. Gabbard?
Well, the information was not classified.
I'm not talking about this. I'm just talking about deliberation from principals as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country. Would you consider that classified information? I'm not talking about what happened this week.
There are other factors that would go into determining that classification.
Mr. Ratcliffe? The deliberation between principals in our national security apparatus about whether or not to strike another country, would you consider that to be classified information?
Pre-decisional strike deliberation should be conducted through classified channels.
Thank you.
And would not information about the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. It's clear that this attempt to downplay the severity of what they were discussing isn't going to work with anyone that's listening. So the president and his goon Mike Waltz, who's apparently the guy that added the journalists onto their thread, came out to attack the guy that inadvertently was included.
The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know. From what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of, he left. He found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early, so I can't speak to it other than that. So he's made up a lot of stories, and I think he's basically bad for the country, but. It's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them.
There's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families, and this one in particular I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room.
They really think they can sell the story that Jeffrey Goldberg hacked into their chat, gathered the unclassified information that's not a big deal anyway, and created this big revelation about their incredible incompetence. So just in case some people won't buy it, their insurance is to continue to unleash their attack dog, Mike Waltz, to snarl about the media, having the nerve to even cover this huge breach of security.
The world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. President Trump took decisive action with his national security team. No one in your national security team would ever put anyone in danger. And as you've said, and we've repeatedly said, the attack was phenomenal and it's ongoing. But the media wants to talk about everything else except for the hostages you're getting out of the Middle East, Iran on its back foot, sea lanes getting reopened, peace in Europe. They want to talk about all this other stuff except for your amazing successes and the successes of your team.
You know, they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had. And I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something.
Yeah, the media is upset that Donald Trump has had a perfect 2 months of his controlling oligarch Elon Musk running around illegally rampaging through the federal government. All that while district judges constantly hold up his executive orders meant to violate the law and human rights, which is also happening while he openly shows complete and utter fealty to Vladimir Putin on an international stage as he negotiates ways for him to get everything he wants from Ukraine. All of the financial losses and uncertainty from regular Americans that are still looking for those promises about lowering daily costs to finally be fulfilled. It's resulted in damn near riots at Republican town hall events that are so bad, Mike Johnson warned them against going back home and facing off with their constituents. Yeah, it's those 2 months of perfection. Those are being ignored by the media so that they can talk about this big blunder. No, none of it makes any sense. They're just throwing everything at the wall and hoping that something will stick. But so far, it's just been embarrassing and extremely revealing.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director
The
Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you hold on. A national political reporter
You can characterize it how you want.
was made privy
The White
to
House has
sensitive
made clear
information about
that there
imminent
was an
military
inadvertent
operations against a
mistake,
foreign terrorist
an inadvertent
organization.
mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge
to a
mistake?
seal.
That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize
This is
it
an
as a
embarrassment.
mistake.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.